If you've been writing as long as I have, you would understand that the world itself has changed over the course of these past few years. Thanks to things such as social media, as well as the constant outbursts we see of both guys and girls, many people have this distinction that men are bad or women are bad and reflect this within their own writing. It's a problem I see especially in modern literature of how overly crazed each of these topics are, and in short, it results in people having these huge political discussions about meaningless topics in terms of writing. There's a reason why I specify writing in this video and not reading, because even though this is a different video to what I usually create, I want to reflect on my past 3 years of my life, on how writing itself has evolved with me, and the way I consider writing determines how I'm going to create my products, especially with the information I gather from both guys and girls. In this video, I'm going to discuss how relationships, guys, and specifically girls and women have taught me a lot of things about writing and the way I use all the things and more to create the best stories and books that I can. Let me discuss my own experiences with women as a whole. You're going to hear that word a lot throughout this video, and it's not going to be in a rude kind of way, but I want to discuss how all of my life I've had fantastic friends and women that helped me create the stories that I have now. For instance, my very first book, if you scroll down past the title, is dedicated to my friend Ava. Now, she helped me get through a lot of the toughest times in my middle school years. It was a lot to say, but when she told me that she herself struggled with her own childhood, I used that comment she once told me to turn that into a full-on story about how we can often waste our childhood and not live it to the fullest. The biggest problem, especially whenever I see discourse about gender wars and whatever kind of BS I see online, is that people are so immediately rude about it that it often plagues how people consume media. And this affects writing, because when we see writing be infantilized as this feminine thing, it becomes a problem, especially for me. I made a video a year ago talking about why men don't read anymore, but I still stand on the points I made then as I do now. In short, I believe that the reason why writing and reading is looked down upon is because of how tacky the action can be. It's often a thing where you just sit alone, and many guys, especially my age, consider that such a feminine thing, because what else are we supposed to do when we could go out, talk to girls, go to the gym, make money, etc. While I still believe those things are important, especially as a guy myself, I believe on the firm basis that you should focus on two priorities, especially if you're a fan of this channel. You are already a writer. You have certainly began writing your book, and if you haven't made it to this point, then click off this video and watch any of my other ones discussing writing. I want to talk to the people who've already written a few pages or half of their book done, or already finished the book as a matter of fact, and how they write their characters, use the information of the world around them, and specifically of relationships and girls. Back to what I was saying, the two priorities you should focus on, especially as a writer, is 1, writing, and 2, communication. This is going to be interesting, so listen up. Writing is the obvious action. I make hundreds of videos talking about how to write better, the best writing advice. People often criticize those, but it truly doesn't matter. I'm satisfied with what I've done. I've been writing for 3 years, and I've already finished 3 books and currently halfway through a 4th one. But in the case of the second priority, communication, this is very important. If you are a writer, you are an intellectual. But if you're similar to me, the problem with intellectuals is that we overthink so many things. And in terms of the social hierarchy, we are put down because we are considered nerds, geeks, or whatever the hell kind of term they're trying to come up with. While most of the world can be lumped into the quote-unquote nerd, I still believe that the problem with being an intellectual is that you're stuck so much in your mind here that the reality and the things you can touch and feel around you are not present. in truth, especially when you're trying to learn about people, and especially if you're a guy similar to me, talking with women is hard. It's an honest truth, but from my own experience and trying to gather things from a feminine perspective, it's difficult to understand and wrap your head around. That's why I feel the second priority of communication should be advocated. And as guys, many of us try to go out and say, here's what we should do. We should talk to the girl directly, ask about how her day was and how all this and that. Yes, you can have an intellectual conversation, but from my case, I've noticed that the best thing I can do, the best results I gather that I use into my books is to simply have fun with it. We overthink so many things, and that goes into our lives. I believe the overthinking is fine, especially for writing novels. But if you put that stress and often anxiety into your own real life of talking with people, then you won't be able to communicate all too well. If you're writing a literary work, hell, if you're writing a practical or theoretical book in nonfiction, you should understand that the way you talk to people will affect your story. You want to tell people a theme and a lesson, but you can't do that if you can't understand how people operate. And as such, I believe you should improve your communication skills, improve on how you're going to socialize, all the better. This channel isn't all about that, but I am going to give you the advice on how I usually socialize and improve for the better. If you've noticed the background of this channel, you've noticed that this thing right over here is sticking out like a sore thumb. This dollar was given to me on a Friday where I decided to do a challenge. Me and my friends climbed this huge incline in the springs of Colorado Springs, and we decided to take a small break and head down to the Manitou area right below it. There I had a penny because I forgot my wallet, and I wanted to challenge myself to take that penny and turn it into a dollar, which is exactly what I did. What I needed to do to get to that point, however, was that I needed to talk to people. It was a scary idea, especially trying to trade up. A lot of people immediately clicked onto the idea, but when you consider how you're going to talk to people, it's scary. On the topic of relationships, everyone around you is a stranger. So the idea that you can just go up to someone and start leveling up that relationship feels impossible because they're already at such a low level. But when I did that to a lot of strangers, I had quite the mixed reaction, especially for who I am and what I do. I had to explain how it was a challenge, but I couldn't really bring up the idea that I was a writer. It's not the best time or place. What I instead did was sell the penny, and I kept going up. I was able to increase it to a doll, into a mini football, into a charger, and ultimately, as I kept trading up, I was able to meet all these awesome people, both guys and girls my age, as well as people way older than me. I've had mixed reactions, especially from the older folk, definitely strange eyes, I would say, but when I was able to get to their level, things were sweet. I simply smiled, waved my hand, and had fun. The thing about trying to understand people, and this is important, especially as a writer, because the way you write dialogue to make it quote unquote more realistic has to be determined by how you talk to people. And this challenge, the thing I challenged myself to do, was one that I firmly made clear. I wanted to be able to make a couple of friends, and I was able to store a few contacts, mostly more guys, but girls as well. As a straight guy, I often find trying to find romantic love, especially in this day and age, challenging, and I reflect that into my story. And when I talk about this $1 experience from penny to dollar, it allowed me to appreciate the world a little more, and I used this information to tell a comedic story within the story of my book. In short, you should be able to use the information you gather from the world around you to then be able to challenge yourself, challenge how your story is going to evolve. And that leads me to the biggest point of this video, the gender of you. This is gonna sound weird, but most of my audience is guys. So that's why I feel the need to talk about it from a guy's perspective. But if you are a girl, you should understand that your ability to write truly doesn't matter in where you come from. Everyone writes. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl. The thing is, I'm writing more than you, and for my content, I want you to be on the same level as me. As I'm already making laps around you, you should be writing just as much, if not more. For me to say that, I'd say to improve your communication, you should be able to go out more, talk to more guys and girls, be friendly and cordial with them. But don't try to overthink the whole thing. Don't try to ask about a random, dumb, deep topic. That's what you say for close friends. But for people where you're simply trying to gather ways to talk, have realistic dialogue, and even make your characters all the more real, reflect on how they act in the real world. There's so many degenerate guys and degenerate girls out there that we often focus so much on the problem. But I want to counter that by writing characters that are hopeful, inspiring, especially for guys and girls. One of my favorite characters that I've ever written is this girl named Sayla in my first book. She was considered the love interest by many of my friends, but I didn't write her that way. I wrote her simply as a fun girl who loves fashion, enjoys talking with people, and likes reading. It's simple, but I wanted to create a character that was reflective of who I dedicated it to, my friend Ava. And when I did that, I was able to not only appreciate my friendship with her a little bit more, but also how the relationships in my life change. It can be romantic, platonic, or even stranger-like, but you should still be able to understand all of these levels to build more realistic and sound characters. I always want to prioritize characters. I believe they are more important than the plot themselves, despite the fact that the characters can be led in a certain way by a plot or a setting. But if we follow interesting, engaging characters, no matter the gender, then what's the point of trying to make a fuss about it? Yes, it's a problem that exists, but I don't care about that, especially on this channel. I simply care about making sure you are the best writer you can, and you have to take my word seriously to actively make the action to change. If we aren't willing to change, then what's the point of talking about relationships, women, and even just friendships as a whole? Why would we want to change it if there's no point in solving the problem? But when we write, we are trying to solve a problem. We're looking for a solution to many of the themes and beliefs we have in our head. I believe that if you are writing with the perspective of creating a better theme, a better lesson for the world, then it doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what the gender of your main character is, and it doesn't matter what you're trying to say. All that matters is what you're going to write today. Are you going to take it seriously or not? Are you going to take your theme seriously or not? I've read hundreds of books from guys and girls all throughout history in the past year. And what I've learned is that I don't think about who the author is in terms of gender. I think about what they're going to say in terms of what they're trying to tell me. And the lessons I gather out of it is what I will remember for lifetimes. And for this video, you should take that as well. I may be a 17-year-old guy still in high school noticing the many degenerate things teenagers do, but you should be able to do whatever you want whenever you want. It's that belief that you should write to whoever, read to whoever, and create whatever. If you're more afraid of trying to tell what you believe, then I believe the story won't be good. You should dictate your ability to change, as you've heard in my penny to dollar experience. If I can win this game of making it to $1, then so can you. It can be either from monetary or personal gain, but your writing should reflect on what you're trying to achieve. Consider how the relationships of the world you live in matter to you. Yes, people in the comments will probably be intellectuals and try to argue ways of things such as, oh, there's this divide or this divide. Let's not do that for a second. All that matters now is practical action, because your practical action, whether you're a guy, a girl, or nothing at all, then you should be able to write the story you believe in. Make a change that will follow you for the rest of your life. And when you do that, and when you promise me that you will follow my advice seriously and check out all the other videos that will encompass this said advice, your relationships with people will be better. For instance, I'm dedicating this current book to my parents, specifically my mom. And I've been using the ways I make her laugh to evolve my story. It's one of the best things that I can do, as well as spread more hope in the world around us. So the biggest thing I want you to take away from this video, the biggest takeaways, as a matter of fact, are: 1, improve your priority of writing and communication. 2, don't be afraid to speak to women, especially as a guy. 3, improve on the areas that you truly believe, whether you're trying to get romantic relationships, platonic relationships, or even just interact with strangers to improve your dialogue in literary writing. 4, understand that you should be able to get your writing done at a reasonable time and pace. And 5, write for the sake that you're going to tell a stronger belief. Yes, entertainment slop may be funny at times. We often talk about fan fiction and the fantasy novels many women read, but it shouldn't be that case. What it should be is reading a book that challenges your beliefs and worldview to then gather the wisdom to evolve it and use it in the world wisely. And when you take in all 5 of these takeaways, I'm telling you, you will be the best writer you possibly can. Only if you take the action now to continue learning ways to be a better writer, as well as write to yourself for the personal belief that you will make this fantastic achievement. Get it done and get it right. Thank you for watching today's video. Use this information wisely to continue inspiring others. I've been talking about over the past few months with my friends that these videos are getting harder and harder to make, but I'm satisfied with the way this one came out. It's one video topic that I've had for many months now that I was quite frankly afraid to talk about, but now that I've said all that I wanted to and more, I'm satisfied with what I've said. If you want more information about me and you want me to personally help you on your writing, then check out my Instagram down the top link of the description and DM me right. Along with that, check out my own books down the top link of the description as well. I am Arnel Arcega, and until next time, keep on reading, keep on writing, and take care.